Welcome back. Now this is where we stopped, and this personally, I think it's great, but nah, we can do better than this, guys. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm opening my Sublime text, and this is where we left. Alright, so, well, to start, I'm going to teach you styling and then formatting, and then we can see other attributes that I didn't teach you. So let's say we want to make this thing look like an actual greeting, not, well, whatever this looks like. Let's say we want to make it green, alright? All I have to do is go to the H1 tag where the greeting is located, and then I write style inside. Think of this like a style. And then the color, I want the style color to be green. And actually you can see it, so let me make it lime green so that you can see. There's all sorts of colors. And now you can see that the underline is still black, and we don't want that now, do we? So let me just grab this, and instead of putting it in the H tag, we're going to put in the underline tag, which includes the H tag as well. So anything that is in between the U tag is going to have the same effect applied on it, right? So I refresh, everything looks great. And well, the font is kind of insulting to me. It's so basic. So let's change the font. To change the font, just say font family, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's some monospace, which looks like this. There's serif, which looks like this. There's sans serif, which looks like this. There's a lot of them, but let's just stick with sans serif, alright? And now look at this. In the paragraph, let's say we want the paragraph to be bold, right? Now, of course, we could style the paragraph. Again, this is styling. And then inside we would write the font weight. So the font weight varies. It can be normal, which will look the same as what it was. It could be bold, and look at how bold it is. And it could be bolder. Well, you can see the difference, but there is actually a difference, right? And well, let's say that we don't like the size, it's too small, right? We just say font size. Let's make it 10 pixels. This is small. Oops, sorry. Let's make it 80 pixel. Wow, this looks like a headline, right? So let's keep it to 40 pixels at least. Great. This is a paragraph that looks exactly, if not bigger than the heading, right? Just because you changed the styling. Now, this might be great, but it takes a lot of time unless you're using CSS, and I promise you we're going to learn all about it in the next few episodes, alright? As for now, let's make it bold the old-fashioned way. We just create a bold tag, which is essentially B, and then it's bold. Let's make it italic, and then it's italic. Now, essentially, you could have done something like this, and font style, make it italic, but that is CSS, and as I said, it's for another day, alright? So for today, this is it. Now, let's go back to attributes. Now, the first attribute we learned was, well, the image attribute. Attributes are elements that don't require closing. There's another attribute, as it turns out. It is called the input attribute, but the input attribute must go in a form. Think of the input like a place where you input your information, right? So let's say name, all right? You can ignore this for now. And then here's a form. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's say to 100 height and the width of the 80. Great. Let's make it rounded again. We'll study all this in the next episode. I just want to make it look good. You can see border radius 30% perhaps. Let's make it a 50%. Let's put a margin top or a margin bottom of 4 pixels and the padding of 1 ear. Great. So essentially this looks like a profile. This looks really like a profile. So I like where this is heading. We're doing progress. Now as it turns out, there's many types of input. There's a name input, there's an email input. Now you won't notice the difference between name and email until you're making dynamic website using PHP or Python. But there's an email input, there's a numbers input. So essentially this is an email input, this is a number. It won't let me type anything unless it's a number inside. There's a password input. So password, well, as you guessed, it won't show the characters. There's many more. There's a radio input, radio, which is simply, well, it's for selecting. There's so many of them, and you guys, if you really want to know about all of them, you just go to W3 Schools, and then this is a really good website to learn HTML. In fact, this is where I learned a lot of the stuff that I didn't know. So whenever you don't understand anything, you can just always come here to look for more meaning. Alright? Great. Now that we're done with the forms, down with the attributes, there's many more attributes. You can go and Google search them. I'm not going to go through all of them. These are the basics one we're going to need. Let's go ahead and do styling, this time in CSS.